Indian family. Welcome to this episode of Leadership Masterclass. The topic of today being product. In our first masterclass, we covered startups and funding. And the next one, it is just appropriate that we talk about the product office. What is the charter of the product office and what do they intend to accomplish? And who else can I have as my guest except a very special person and a well known friend, Madhav Venkatesh, CTO of Trust Trees. Now, let me introduce Madhav who heads the technology office for Trust Trees, a Stockholm-based company that combines blockchain, IoT, and AI to empower brands with transparency and traceability in the supply chain ecosystem. It's a brand that strives to foster sustainability across multiple industries such as fashion, apparel, and sports. And Madhav and I go a long back where we have worked together for a few years in HCL Technologies, and both of us were building a product in parallel. And Madhav built a very successful SaaS marketplace platform called Agora, which proved to be a major revenue generator for HCL Technologies, and it's being spoken for decades together. And from there on, Madhav also went on to head the IoT Works group of HCL, which aimed to fasten the adoption of IoT across various verticals in HCL. And then Trust Trace happened, where Madhav, along with three other co-founders, went on to build Trust Trace, which has now won several customers and sponsors. And at the time when the team started, sustainability was just a boardroom topic or the buzzword. But the team has really taken the company to a different level where Trust Race is now a very well established brand in that ecosystem of products. And so let's hear more from Madhav how he could build such a huge range of products and be successful at each. Madhav, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Shubha. My pleasure to be a part of this great show. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, the pleasure is ours. So the first question for you, right? What does the product office do? I have a couple of general questions based on what your ecosystem does, right? Now, what do you do? And do you carry revenue targets? What is your overlap with the technology office? My understanding of the product office is that the product office defines the what and the technology defines the how, right? Is that correct? Please walk us through a typical product office charter and how it can function.
Yeah, I think product office, I mean, the roles vary and how it is set up vary based on the type of products that we are developing, right? So, I mean, today, if you look at Trustways, we are a tech product company, so which means that we are solving sustainability as a problem using technology. So a product office is not an independent function which sits in isolation and then defends the what. The primary responsibility of the product office is to get more clarity on the problem space, right? So, I mean, by working with the customers and understanding which is the higher priority. So we usually call this as a discovery process, right? So, I mean, during a discovery process, the product office works closely with the customers, try to understand, I mean, what are the key problems that they want to solve, and especially in areas like sustainability, even the customers are in an exploratory mode, right, where they're also figuring out how to use a software system to drive improvements in the brand's ESG goals. So it's a collaborative exercise where the product managers, I mean, we have a product focus group where the product managers work with customers who are in the part of the product focus group. So we have segmented the customers based on either their size or their maturity in terms of where they are in their sustainability journey, so that we can categorize and group similar requirements, right? So that is the first thing that they do, right? So working with customers and understanding which is the most critical problem that we can solve for that particular segment of the customers. And the engineering and product functions are not, I mean, two different functions when it comes to identifying the right solution, right? Because when it comes to the solution space, when you're solving a problem with the technology, right? So what is the right technology? What is the right approach to solve that problem? It is important to co-locate both the product management function and the engineering function, the designers, into a single team to come up with the right solution. So we usually run a design sprint, I mean, where the problem is taken and various solution approaches are discussed, and then the UX team builds a prototype, which can be quickly validated with the customers, and then we start building the solution. because when you are agile, I mean, you cannot, I mean, do um, uh, a streamlined waterfall workflow, right? So all of them, including the customer, are a part of the common product organization. That's how we have set up our team here.
Okay. And what about research? Like, do you also do market research as well? Does that also fall under the umbrella of a product office?
Yes. I mean, in our case, I mean, since we are a sustainability tech company, understanding the new regulations or understanding, I mean, what are the new sustainability risks that are emerging in this space, which our customers might be interested in. Knowing that is becoming, I mean, it's very critical part of the product function. So when the, I mean, without understanding the market, without understanding where the industry is generally heading to, it'll be very difficult to be proactive in engaging with customers. If not, I mean, we'll always be talking at features and saying, okay, where do I put this button, how this workflow should be moving. But if you want to be proactive in the conversation with the customer and where the customer also sees a value in participating in the discovery process, it is important to build that research structure. So we don't, you call it as a market research. I mean, we have three research functions, right? One is a sustainability research team, which is researching in the domain or the area in which we are focused on. Then we have a product research or a technology research organization, which is focused on what are the new technologies or the solution space, right, side of things. And then the market research, which is, for example, I mean, where the customers are moving, which is the highest priority for the customers, what our competitors are doing, and so on, right? So we have all three functions. I mean, today it's distributed between the product and the marketing organization. But I mean, yeah, it's a, I mean, being a startup, you don't want to build these walls around. So it's a shared team that we, both the marketing team and the product team, leverages.
Okay, so I have seen two schools of product management in my overall work experience. Right, there are the MBA graduates that come and define a product roadmap, and I've also seen solid technical guys with a very strong engineering background come and define the product roadmap. But whatever it may be, it is my belief that the product organization is the most visionary organization in a company. Right, it combines an organization's needs, it combines a customer's needs, and it also combines market trends to come up with a product that will actually generate revenue, right? So what are your thoughts about this? Like, who, I have two questions on this. Who are the right set of folks to define a product roadmap, and what are the inputs that should go before you conceptualize a product, right? How do you form the team? How do you form the idea?
See, I think, I mean, I'll just take some inspiration from the Inspired book, right? So, a product manager is not someone who has to identify the most innovative solution, okay? So, the biggest, I mean, when you're an agile organization, right, I think all of us need to understand that your iteration one is not the best solution, right? So your iteration one will basically get, or it will open up conversation with your customers, right? So a product manager is a process owner. They're not the innovators, right? So they don't have to have that innovation skill. So if you take any product team, which I'm including engineering as well, right? So when I call product, it is product management, designers, and engineers, all of them together. There are three major roles, right? There is an innovation that has to happen. There is an execution that has to happen. There is a evangelization that has to happen, okay? So different companies require these three in different percentages. For example, if I'm building the next AI-led CRM product, I would focus more on, I mean, CRM is an established space, which means that you don't have to go and talk about, I mean, what is a CRM to your end customers. You don't have to identify or discover the problems anymore. All you are working on is the solution space, looking at, for example, AI, and then trying to build differentiation, some modes. So the focus is, I mean, maybe 15, 20% in innovation, 60% in execution, because you have to really be fast, because that's an established market, and you can't just, waste time. And you just have too much of competition out there, right? So the focus will be majorly on execution and launching the product as early as possible. And then the evangelization is mostly focused on showcasing your differentiation, how your technology will help customers to improve their customer satisfaction or whatnot, right? So so this percentage distribution need not be same for all the industries, right? For example, in the area that we are working on, which is sustainability tech, even manually these processes have not been done before. So which means that you have to start with identifying what is the process innovation that is required for the brands, and then you overlay the technology innovation on that. Then you execute it faster, but with the premise that your iteration one is never going to be right, or even the second iteration may not be right, which means that you need to have that shorter sprints, get it quickly validated with the customers, and then you should also equally evangelize. So once you see that it is working for 2 or 3 customers, you have to now make others to believe that this is workable, this is viable and scalable for them, right? So it's a slightly different mix of skills that you need at individual levels. When you're the execution, okay, when you're focused on execution, you get people who are just good at execution, right? Who can make the idea more scalable, who can make the solution more scalable, who can work with customers, get their feedback, and so on, right? When you're in the innovation side, we need more solution mindset, people with more solution mindset, and people with the right blend of technology and business domain understanding. So I wouldn't say MBA or technology. I would only focus on the skills, and anybody can bring in that skills, right? I think it just requires that the people with the right attitude, with that agile attitude. In our space, we don't. We don't need strong executionists, which is just keep launching product every month and just look at your competition. If they are introducing 2 features, you just build the 2 features. No, we want more people who are very good at discovery, right, with customers. So that is a skill set that we look at. But that is why this combination is very critical. You don't get it in one person. So your product team is always a product manager, a designer, and an engineer, right? Or the lead engineer or whoever you have in your team. They have to always be together. So it's not one person who can solve this problem.
Actually, I really liked what you said, right? A product manager is someone who can execute the process for a particular industry well, right? Depending on the maturity. I really just love that definition that you gave. And it's not really whether you're an MBA or a technologist, it doesn't matter, right? It is about, being able to focus on the process. That's really great. And having known you, what I know is that you've always, ridden the tiger by the tail, right? When you built Agora, the SaaS market was just about a buzzword and it was just blooming, right? Again, sustainability. Even the big companies are just now coming, but you've already, done a startup. You have taken it through funding and all that, right? So, what do you think are the challenges when you're taking a big bet on a trend, which is not established still? Because CRM is a given, but all that you have done or new technologies where the promise of a success was never known, it is successful is an after effect, right? So what are the precautions but someone should take, or how to go about it when you don't know if the technology is going to pay off or not?
So I think any problem, right? See, I see 2 schools of thoughts, right? So people start with a solution and they stick on to a solution, right? If you stick on to the problem for a longer time, I think that is the most critical thing, right? So, even when I was looking at SaaS way back in 2007, when maybe Salesforce was a $100 million company, NetSuite, at least I knew NetSuite. I still recall NetSuite was a $100 million company at the time. I think it's not important to stick on to the solution space, right? We didn't have a solution to solve that problem. We were fascinated by the potential of what software as a service could do to software, right? So in early 2000s, when when we were working with offshore product engineering teams. While we were seeing that, I mean, a lot of traditional license-based products were getting challenged by these new entrants. And also the belief that, I mean, over a period of time, every software gets complex, right? I mean, I think if you build a software for 15 years, obviously it will become complex because 15 years of engineering work would have bloated the software so much. So when this long tail, the idea of long tail came in, which is start focusing on the markets which has not been served so far. And then after you start building the product, then you have a just enough right product at some point, which even large enterprises starts adopting to.
Yeah.
That is what we saw at the time Salesforce was going on. I mean, what was happening with Salesforce, right? Because I was managing a CRM product engineering from offshore. And then they were getting challenged by Salesforce. Some of their customers were taking out by Salesforce. So the trend fascinated me, right? So, I mean, these early movements, I mean, are real movements, right? So, I mean, and you can easily, I mean, distinguish a fad and a reality
Trend.
if you observe them for a long time, and then you get fascinated by the shift. And then you stay on that for, I mean, maybe I stayed on it for about 10 years, right? I mean, so I filed some patents, and I was working with other customers. And when you stay on with patents, right, there are so many people who will tell you what is the right thing to build. I think that is why I'm saying, right? I mean, you don't think that you're an innovator and just, I mean, build one, I mean, get one patent and then just stay on it for lifetime, right? Maybe that worked for the person who built the mRNA vaccine. I mean, she just stayed on with that solution for 30 years to make it feasible and scalable. I'm not an R&D person, right? I mean, I can't stay on the solution for long. I mean, I just like to get associated to a trend which is emerging, which I believe I mean has shown some success, and everywhere. I mean, you can see the proof points very early. You can see whether it is just adopted by this technology enthusiasts or it really has a proof point which is working at scale. Yeah, which is working at scale. And I mean, to me, I'm always an enterprise software guy, okay? And it's very easy to get the trend in the enterprise software space.
Yes.
People, IT managers are not going to spend money on a technology that, I mean, just to explore, right? I mean, I think they're going to invest in a technology that will work for them. So always, I mean, I had only focused on the enterprise software side. And then when sustainability happened, yes, I mean, I think in early 2016, it was a bit of a bet we took, mostly because we like the purpose behind it, right? I mean, we were not building that. We were not building Trustways to have a significant exit or whatever. Right? We are building Trustways so that there will be a purpose for how the technology and the solutions that we have looked in the past can be applied in an area which has a global impact. I think that purpose fascinated us, nothing else. And then if you stay on it for 4 or 5 years, I mean, of course, you will learn more, right? I mean, in the beginning, neither the customer nor us knew what to do. Yeah. Then slowly, some customers who are smarter, I mean, they come and tell you, hey, this is where I think, I mean, you can add value to us. And then the conversation continues, right? The discovery process continues. So I like what Peter Thiel says, right? I mean, you cannot have one founding day, right? I mean, the founding has to be continuous.
Continuous.
So, yeah, that excites in all these in all these spaces when you are early in the life cycle.
So you're early in the cycle and you hang around with the problem for quite some time, and you will automatically, I mean, you will naturally navigate towards the solution, right? That's what I'm getting as key takeaways. I mean, let's say that it is not an enterprise software. Our viewers are not restricted to enterprise software. It could be anybody, right? Would that still apply? Do you think?
Yeah, I think so, right? I mean, I think I mean, I think we should not get obsessed by the solution. Okay, I think we should get obsessed by the problem that we want to solve.
Okay.
I think that is my experience. So if you get obsessed with the problem, I'm sure that over a period of
You
time
will
you'll get
solve it.
you will solve it. Yeah, because I don't think when Facebook started, right? I mean, it didn't start to become a $1 trillion company, right? So you just get obsessed by to enable collaboration among people.
Yeah.
Or I mean, that is where the vision is very critical, right? Because the vision is and how you have the vision, right? I mean, like organizing the world's information. If Google, I mean, that is the vision of Google, right? They didn't say that I will build a search engine. They didn't say that I will build an email mailing product. They didn't say I will build a YouTube, right? I mean, or a video content platform. They just said, so that is where having that, or abstracting that problem statement into a product vision, which is more inspirational or more long term. That's going to be critical.
Right.
You still need a boundary, right? You cannot just go and say that, hey, I mean, so you cannot say that, okay, that is a blockchain. So today we don't associate so much with blockchain as a solution, right? I mean, we feel AI is a better solution than blockchain. So, I mean, when you introduced me as a blockchain, I mean, Trustways as a blockchain, I mean, no, we don't call it anymore as blockchain company because we have moved on. We have found that the fundamental problem is the data.
Yeah.
If you don't crack the data collection problem, whether you put it in a blockchain or not, right? I mean, that is a secondary problem, right? I mean, it comes after 5 years, after you figured out how you can have authentic or trustable data at scale. Then you talk about, I mean, how do you want to share that information and how you want to retain that information for a much longer time, right? So yeah, I mean, I think whatever space you are in, just get obsessed with the problem, build a product vision that is inspirational, still have a boundary because don't start any idea without a boundary, and then stay on it for a very long time. Just feel happy about or set up the team for a multi-iteration model, right? So
and of course there is a funding that has to be supportive, right? I mean, to stay with the problem for quite some time. A lot of companies, a lot of startups fail because at some point of time they exhaust the funds, and so that is another key aspect to take into consideration, I guess.
See, I think if you have a vision and if you have a process, see, no investor can guarantee that an idea will work. Like how no founder can guarantee that an idea will work, right? So, I mean, like how you need money. I mean, like how a startup founder will need money. People with money needs the best ideas to invest on, right? So it's just it's just the right marriage, right? I mean, that you need to figure out. Okay, so I mean, exhausting funds and all of that. I mean, I think there are multiple school of thought. I'm not an expert in this area, but just from my experience, I mean, what I can tell you is, I mean, if you have the right vision, if you have the right execution model, I mean, the right foundation that you can convince that I mean, you can be that that unicorn or whatever. I mean, is the objective that the fund managers have. Then you can be successful, right? So I think I will again go with what Peter Thiel says in his book, right? So every fund manager is looking for an idea that is powerful enough to meet their fund objectives. So while they invest in 5 or 10 products out there, they don't expect all the 10 products to become the $1 trillion company, right? So they just know that there is one company which will do 95% of the entire fund value, and another 10 might just meet and whatever. So it's a different ball game. I mean, you should also understand that. I mean, you should be ready to give up your company, right? So when you're looking for money, they're not going to give it to you at free. So they're giving it to you because they want a significant return from their investment, and that return you should be ready to give it to them.
Correct.
So if you want to take funding, don't hold your shares tight, right? Don't hold your holding tight.
Correct.
Again, it's again saying, okay, what are you? If you are passionate about solving the problem, then how much I have, what percentage of stocks I have in my company should not matter to you.
Yeah.
It's just the priority, right? I think it's just the priority and how you approach this problem.
Yeah. So one of the famous quotes that I have heard about startups is that always go ahead and launch an MVP. Let the fires burn. Let the small fires burn. It doesn't matter, right? Don't wait to build the perfect product and then go launch the product. So do you follow that style? Is MVP launch your style of product launch, or I mean, how do you recalibrate, or what is your overall path to launch? Like you spoke about path to conceptualization, defining roadmap, etc., right? What is your path to launch?
Yeah, it's a very interesting problem, and I mean, I think it's like the innovator's dilemma. Okay, so progress is more important than perfection. Okay, I think, I mean, for any startup, because like I said, you don't know whether that solution will work or not. So why to make a perfect solution? Why to build a perfect solution, right? So don't waste time for 1 year to just build that perfect solution, and then figure out that, I mean, hey, this doesn't work, and it need not be because of the technology or anything, right? It may be because the customer has not experienced a system like this. They are not ready to use a system like this. I mean, maybe their IT systems, the rest of the IT organizations, or the maturity of the customers are not ready to accept a product like this. Okay, so don't get obsessed with the solution and build it for 18 months or whatever, right? So I think that is the fundamental philosophy. So whenever I hear some of my friends, I mean, who are trying to venture into a startup, they say that, I mean, looks like I will take another 12 months to launch the product. I tell them, then it's a recipe for disaster. Then you will commit so much into the solution that you will not listen to your customer.
Yes.
Right. So once you commit so much to your customers and to the product that you have built, then if the customer says, I mean, hey, that button, I'm unable to learn how to execute this flow, right? You will not accept because you are already obsessed with what
The
you have built,
product.
right? So definitely MVP, I mean, lean product principles are the way to go. Okay. But the biggest challenge after some time that you feel is your customers don't want you to change the software so often,
Yeah.
because they are now, especially in the enterprise space, right? I mean, you cannot, I mean, keep training the user every 3 months. So it becomes very, I mean, it becomes a very interesting problem, right? While you want to keep innovating, I mean, faster, you want to, I mean, experiment faster, but your customer says, hey, you're changing quite frequently. I do not. I mean, it's taking so much of my time to learn this. So that is where, I mean, including the customer early in the discovery process and so on, right? I mean, this is a middle path, so that they also know they are participating in that entire journey. Don't just throw them a shock. You might think that it is a surprise, but it might be a shock that you are throwing at the customer. So it's important to get that balance, and that is a challenge that, I mean, every product company faces as they grow, right? And Google cannot just suddenly change their interface, right? It has to be still that simple search bar,
Okay.
and
Yes.
that is the innovation of Google, right? So they can still keep I mean, having that same page from the start date till today. So take very minimal decisions on UI, UX. I mean, don't make it complex. Let the decisions remain simple, so that it gives you the flexibility of change as you move forward. And the customers don't see build the complexities behind the scene.
Yeah.
Don't build the complexity on the screen, right? So, so I think there are some good practices that we should follow as you scale. How you can innovate faster.
So MVP is the recommended path to launch,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
MVP and shorter sprints. Yeah, MVP and shorter sprints.
Okay. So based on your current view of the industry itself, right? Where I'm talking about the technology industry, right? What is your, what are the markets to focus on the most, right? Do you have a view of, which markets are going to need and what technology is the most? If you could play the role of a gardener for us for a few minutes, right? What are you seeing from where you are?
See, I think, I mean, okay, again, it's just my perspective, so take it with a pinch of salt. So I think, I mean, today AI is in that cusp of glory, right? So you cannot ignore AI. Okay, so if you have an idea, and if you don't build it around AI, you will be dead. Okay, because somebody else is going to build it around AI. Okay, um, so I think we should take AI very seriously in every aspect of the product that we build. So there cannot be any product company which doesn't have an AI team anymore. That is my 2 cents. Which means all of us should learn AI first model and reimagine all the workflows through AI. I'll just give a simple example. I mean, I think if you take the IT service management market, which has been predominantly dominated by people who are focused on process intelligence, etc., are easily getting disrupted by companies which are specialists in chatbots.
Yeah.
Because the automation, I mean, from IT service, ITIL process expertise and all of that, now it has moved to a consumer or a user-centric software systems. So you see that, I mean, there is a significant disruption happening in the ITSM space with these companies which built a chatbot for customer success. I mean, you see Zoho to Freshworks, they're beating all traditional ITSM vendors hands down. So, so AI is a very critical space. Okay, if you're a startup founder, you need to know, you need to be comfortable with AI. I think that's what my view is. Web 3.0, I feel, I mean, has a very long way to go. I mean, I'm sure that, I mean, there are some very interesting use cases, but can we create all the physical assets digitally and have the digital experience? Because, I mean, personally, I thought digital is equal to abundance, right? So, which means that, I mean, you can just, I mean, software means abundance, right? But Web 3.0 thrives on artificial scarcity. Okay, I mean, it's challenging me when I think about it. How can digital talk about scarcity, right? All these NFT tokens and all of that is all about, I mean, creating scarcity. You just have 100 tokens and all of that. But I'll still be interested to watch it because today it's all about building exclusive products. Okay, when I say exclusive products, everybody needs. I mean, I think people talked about personalized products at some point, right? Where you get an Apple pen where your name is engraved and all of that, right? But you don't have any value of the pen after your ownership is done.
Yeah.
Nobody would want to buy a Madhav, a pen which is engraved as Madhav, right? It's just personalized, my product, and I have to just throw it out. I mean, after my usage is over, right? But if you take an exclusive product, right? I mean, saying a product that is signed by, I mean, say, Djokovic, right? That's an exclusive product. I mean, maybe I just produce 100 shoes which are signed by Djokovic, and then I integrate the NFTs to it, because physical products have the scarcity, right? So the instead of looking at building exclusive products on digital world, can we marry the physical products, I mean, exclusive physical products with NFTs and then ensure e-commerce and so on, so that the value of the product goes up, continuously keep going up. I think that's a very strong use case from a Web 3.0 that we should look at, not in terms of digital content creation and trying to create value. So these are fascinating, and of course, I mean, IoT. I feel that has already integrated into our life, right? I mean, so the smartwatch that you have, and from a consumer product perspective, it's already integrated. I mean, like mobile phone, you didn't realize that it was taking over your life. So I think IoT has already taken over life. Space tech, I think, is a big emerging area in countries like India, because the privatization. I mean, this is when the industry is getting privatized. So maybe we should look at that as a tipping point for that technology. Human brain interaction. I think. Yeah. I think there are quite a few
Your
fascinating areas that are there. But I would
favorite
today, if there is one thing that you should all, every founder should look at, whether you are creating the next disruptive GPT engine or whatever, right? No, learn AI. If not, you will get disrupted. There is no product that can exist without AI.
Yeah. So, what about Chat GPT? Are you also saying that Google will lose to Chat GPT? Are you following the trends? That specific product I'm talking about, right? I mean, what are your views? Because the adoption and the craze is like something that I have seen in the very very early days when Google was launched, right? Everybody, I mean, they use Chat GPT for pretty much everything. And for my QA team, I mean, just uses it to just write me a test case for this. Starting from that, I mean, it just goes on and on, right? So what is your view on that specific product?
It's a part of my daily life already. Okay, so I spend 2 hours in ChatGPT. Okay, yeah. So see, I think the power of ChatGPT is, if I'm a programmer, right? I don't use ChatGPT to program. Okay, but assuming I'm a nerd, okay, I have a great product idea, but I don't know how to market that idea. I can augment it, right? So it is my virtual assistant, which fills up the gaps that I have in me, right? So we have a lot of debate going on, right? I mean, saying it cannot solve even basic mathematics problem and all of that, right? To test the artificial intelligence, it doesn't mean that we have to be dumb to use an artificial intelligence system.
Yeah.
We should understand that we are still intelligent. We will continue to be intelligent and will continue to be a dominant race. Okay. And if you start using AI as augmenting, like how you use an office assistant, right? I mean, or your Alexa or your Siri in your phone, it's not replacing, I mean, your typing, right? Maybe it is just automating one of your tasks. I mean, we cannot just suddenly say that, okay, my vocabulary will go off or my typing skills will go off. I feel that, I mean, I think we are over reading into that situation. So we have, I mean, I think two sides of the same coin. I mean, today, interestingly, there was New York Times editor who went and had a much longer conversation with the engine that Microsoft integrated with their Bing, and then the discussion about whether it is sentient or not. I mean, all of this are happening. I mean, we still don't know whether plants are sentient. Okay, first let's figure it out. Okay, we don't even know how to test whether something is sentient or not. I think, leaving aside all these controversies, it is compressing time for me. What it will take 3 months of analysis and research,
Yeah,
I can do it in 30 minutes using ChatGPT if I just know what I'm searching for.
yeah.
It's a significant time compression for me. Okay, I don't want to predict whether, I mean, what will happen to the search market, what will happen to Google, because even Microsoft has integrated this into the Bing engine, right? So I think there's still a value of search and these augmented intelligence systems. Because the authenticity of information, I mean, you still don't know, right? What is the source of
Yeah.
this data, right? So I'm sure that, I mean, you will still search after you get that
Whether is
basic. It's
yeah.
yeah, it is just that compression, right? I mean, it's just the time compression. It's a great augmenting tool, right? Because I mean, we are just building a video using like generating scripts using ChatGPT. So you can ask it to do a storyboard. We just gave it a concept. It could give us a script, and now our video editors are just using it to build the video thing. So it's a, I mean, because I'm not a specialist in
Correct.
generating a video content, right? So I use it to augment my capability. But if I go and ask it saying, okay, what is the technology that can solve sustainability problem, it's not going to give me answer. That I still, I mean, I still have my job. I will continue to have my job at least for a few more years.
So you build product for big companies. You have also built from scratch, right? A company from scratch. What is your, what is your favorite place to? What do you think is the right environment for product and technology evangelists such as yourself to experiment and really build products? Did you get the freedom? Did you get the funding? Did you get the support and sponsorship in both? or I believe that startups move faster, right? Because they have nothing to lose. So they move faster. And that agility I have seen missing in the big companies. Is that your view too? Or what's your overall take on that?
So I think there are advantages and disadvantages in both these cases, right? I mean, I think if you're under a very big enterprise, right, the ability to get inputs, I mean, the ability, I mean, your first deal can be with one of the
Yes.
largest customers out there, right? So, I mean, there is already a well-oiled sales machine and all of that. See, I feel that irrespective of the company or the size you are in, right? That either you are an entrepreneurship mindset or you have an entrepreneurship mindset, whatever it is. I think that is very critical. Nobody is, there is no free meal, okay, in either cases, right? So, I mean, you can see that today, I mean, I think there are some statistics. I mean, I don't recall them very clearly. I think they say that, I mean, the CDA, it's just 5% of the companies get seed fund. It's just 5% of that seed companies get Series A. I think the percentage of companies or the ideas that gets that sees the end of the day is less in either cases. Yeah. All we need to understand is either way. I mean, there are checks and balances in both the systems, and you should just be entrepreneurial to navigate in both these systems, right? I mean, I think a lot of companies have a multi-million-dollar product portfolio. A lot of services companies have a multi-million-dollar services, I mean, product portfolio that they are able to protect as well. I think it is just that visionary leader who is helping it to move forward.
Okay. So any final thoughts on product before I go into the rapid fire session where we will explore a little bit on the personal side of Madhav? Anything that you want to share about the product office that I missed asking you, but you think is worthwhile to share?
No, I think I mean I can't recall anything right now, but if you just look at it, I mean I think a product office is the most critical part of any startup. Okay, getting the right people,
yeah,
empowering them, and giving them a big vision to go after. I think that is very critical. Okay, I think that is the role of the founders, right? I mean, you have to inspire them, and I mean, get the right people and inspire them. Yeah, I think that's going to be the most important tasks that each one of us do. I'm sure all of us are smart enough to figure it out.
Okay, now let me move on to the rapid fire session. Very extempore. You should just answer what comes to your mind. No, you can't take time to think. Okay, because we want to explore the personal side of Madhav, right? Which is the non-product, and it's supposed to be fun. Okay, so okay, ready to go. You're off to the moon, and you're likely never coming back. And you're allowed to take one thing with you, which will still allow you to do what you like the best from there. What would you take with you?
Maybe a bunch of Ilayaraja songs that I can listen and relax and get over that solitude.
Okay, all right. So one favorite book, person, and place.
Book on top of my mind is Alchemist, because every time I read that book, I get something different. I mean, I think if you read any book, I believe that, I mean, after you finish the book, that is when the impact should be strong. It's not when you're reading the book. I mean, that is all these thrillers and all of that. You get excited when you're reading the book, but Alchemist will stay with you for a very long time. So I make it a habit that I read it once in a year, because I feel that, I mean, I get something new every time. And the favorite person, I get inspired very quickly. I mean, I have been inspired by you. I think I love to observe people, and I like to get inspired by the best that they have. So I have maybe 1,000 people whom I like.
Your favorite retreat spot, where you like to go? Retreat spot, like place where you like to go often, even if you've visited 100 times.
I'm a very lazy traveler, so my home is the best place. I love to be back home.
Home is your favorite spot.
And just enjoy my food with my family. Yeah.
So you're not in a room, but a bunch of people that know you very well are talking about you. What are they likely to tell about you? What do you think is your USP or brand value that Madhav carries that people are about to talk about you when you're not in the room?
I'm sure everybody will say that I'm the loudest person always. And I think I'm friendly and I'm friendly and approachable. So I think they'll just say, I mean, this guy is, I mean, can disturb any conversation because he's so loud and he's so passionate about his ideas. So I can be really hard when it comes to brainstorming sessions
Brainstorming
to
session.
handle.
Okay. Okay. So what did young Madhav as a teenager wanted to be, and are you living that dream or it's completely different?
No, actually, till my post graduation, I mean, or my undergraduation, I didn't have any vision in life. I think even today, I take life as it comes. But always, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. In fact, I wanted to name my first company as Nova Tech. Okay, and the philosophy behind it was, I mean, the Noah Ark, right, where
Correct.
it saved the entire population. So I got inspired by that Noah Ark, and then I wanted to name my company as Novatech. When I was young, of course, our company is not called that. So that way, yes, I'm living maybe my first dream that I recall today. Yeah.
Okay. So a bunch of college grads, all from the same college with absolutely no work experience, come to you. And you're evaluating them on pure skill sets. And you will train them on whatever your startup is doing. What's a soft skill will earn them a seat in your team?
The only thing I look for is, are you ready to learn,
Correct.
unlearn, and learn, right? So I'll ask them some foundational questions, mm, like saying, okay, what is your take on religion, right?
Correct.
And I'll try to break them, right? So during that conversation, are
Mm,
they are they coming with a strong bias, or are they listening to you and I mean trying to engage in a dialogue, right, rather than engaging in an argument? I think that is more critical. People who have very strong point of view, I mean, I think are very difficult to take into an organization because,
correct.
especially like a startup, right? The biggest question that I always keep getting from my team is, "Hey, you only said it differently a couple of days back." I tell them, "Yes,
Yeah.
but this is something that I discovered today. That doesn't mean that, I mean, yesterday I was wrong or today I'm wrong, right? It
Correct.
is just that progress, right? I mean, your customers have told you something. So well, definitely we don't want to keep disturbing the rhythm and not end anywhere, right? But don't take the ticket to your destination. Just start traveling, and then just keep figuring out the path as you move forward. So I think that is the only thing. You have to be a continuous learner, and are you showing that ability in this? You might be the best AI engineer, but have you looked at solving a problem using what you know? Have you looked at these problems that you can solve? Or are you always be bent up like a conversation day is the next best thing? Yeah, only conversation day is the only world, right? Just explore. The world is much bigger and much diverse than what we think it is.
Okay. So, do you have mentors? Let's say you don't have mentors. I mean, I'm hoping that you have somebody in the startup ecosystem you have as a mentor. Let's say you don't have one. Then, three of the choices, which one would be your favorite mentor? Like Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, or Elon Musk? Who would you like to be? Like, if you have one mentor, please bring it out. If not, which one would suit
Yeah,
your?
like I said, I get inspired by almost everybody I meet. Okay, so I take something good from everyone. Okay, and maybe when I'm searching something, right? When I'm searching something, I will go and look for the best. Uh, I think Jeff Bezos is my bet because um, Amazon to AWS. I mean, I don't know what's happening with this space tech.
Blue
the
or
space tech, the Blue Origin, what's happening with it. But he stays with the problem for a very long time. I mean, Amazon has not been. I mean, he has not exited Amazon and went and started AWS. I mean, he didn't exit. I mean, and I think, I mean, even Bill Gates is a big, inspiration and somebody whom I would look for. Because, I mean, you cannot get excited with thousand problems around you. Okay. I mean, some founders like Elon Musk, I mean, they can get excited with
everything.
100 big things. I mean, yes, definitely he will solve. I mean, maybe if there is a guy who can solve world hunger problem, maybe it is Elon Musk, right? Because he's very aggressive and he's very explore. I mean, he wants to explore everything. Maybe he has time. He has some supernatural powers. I'm not a supernatural guy, so I would rather go with Jeff Bezos because
Close.
I feel that he has done what is humanly possible.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, I think it's very. I mean, I feel that it's very early to take him as an inspiration. He's a good Facebook executive. That's
Okay.
how I feel.
Okay. So, if you were to do all of this again, what would you do differently, or you will just stick to the path that you have come along?
See, I think the best thing that happened to me was the co-founders. I think I would always insist that getting the founding team is very, very critical because not every day will be great. I mean, we call this as rainbow days. Okay, so in the morning you will have a good news, in the afternoon you will have a bad news, in the evening you will have a news which is inspiring. I mean, which will just get you back to track. Okay, you definitely at least need shoulders to cry on.
Correct.
Okay, so one thing I will do it again for sure is go with the same founding team, right? Because I mean, it's a great founding team. We all complement each other, and it's great to work with this bunch of people. Even after 5-6 years of being in this journey, I would still love to do it once again. One thing that I would do differently is we started with an engineering team and then we had the product team. And product team, we built it after 2 years after building the product. That is the mistake I would want not to do it. I'll first hire a product manager and then I will look for engineering people. And the team composition also matters a lot. So don't pre-commit on a team composition, right? If you hire 50% UI guy and 50% backend engineers, which means that your product will be equally complex in both the areas. To hire 10% UI guy and 90% backend engineers, all the complexities will be in the backend, the UI will be very simplified. So it's very critical to also understand this team composition. So I'd focus on getting the right balance of the team. If not, I mean, it may just get complex in where you invest more.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any final parting comments, thoughts, LinkedIn handles, anything that you want to share before we do it?
Yeah, I think it was I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation because I mean, it's fun to chat with you, and I mean, the space is also something really exciting. And I mean, I think we are in exciting times with regards to what software can do. I think I enjoyed this conversation. It actually gave me a lot of starting points of thinking. So thank you so much for that. I will wish all the wishers best of luck. I mean, if they are in that early stage journey, I mean, I think just stick on to an idea or a problem. I'm sure all of us, the world is abundant to take care of all of us. So all the very best to all the listeners.
Yeah. Thank you, Madhav. I think it was great talking to you. Lots of, small nuggets throughout that you shared. And I tell my daughter, right, like, see, we all are so lucky to have been in the technology industry at the right time. And anyone that is aspiring to build a product, don't get bogged down by AI and all that. This is still the right time. There are numerous possibilities, right? So, on that note, I mean, I want to thank you for your time. And we will see you soon. And good luck with Trust Trace and all the other things that life has to offer you. Good luck and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shubha. Thank you so much.
And that's a wrap. I hope you all found this episode with Rajiv useful. I will see you again in my next episode with yet another C suite leader covering much more useful insights and learnings. Until then, stay safe and take care.